Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark Robertson, again, and today we are going to be talking about how the Sacramento Kings are not going to be in a new 10-year hole now that they have traded DeMarcus. In my last video, I did the review of the Kings and the Pelicans and how they were doing. This time, I've talked to people about it on Twitter, and I've been hearing people talking about it all the time on Twitter and on YouTube and stuff like that, and everybody's like, "Well, that was such a big mistake that the Kings did for trading DeMarcus." Well, there's a lot of potential opportunities that the Kings have for their future by doing that. Not only does it take away the reputation of the Kings, it takes away any negative feedback we're gonna get about Cousins, um, any negative, just no more reputation. And then, of course, they did the waiving of Matt Barnes to try to help that too, because I guess that's the bad boy reputation. Those two players are like the bad boys of the Kings, and they're always getting into trouble, which I guess on some point that's true, but like I didn't see the reason for Matt Barnes until Tyreek came back, which Tyreek's been a baller, like I've said in the last video. So I'm gonna talk about the different things that we did get, like how beneficial it is that we did trade. So with that trade, like I said before, we did get their pick, their first round pick, which means that we're gonna have two. Right now, it's most likely we're going to have the 6th and the 7th back-to-back picks, which is really good to be able to draft that constantly at once. Like, just being able to draft 6th and then 7th, and then not having to wait. So, like, we don't have to get, like too much suspense. Like, yeah, we would have to wait until the 6th, but, like, go 6th, 7th. Go pretty good. Obviously, we do get a part of that trade, too, is the second round Sixers pick for the same year. So I don't know how deep the talent is exactly, but I've heard there's a few guys that might be good with that second round pick to pick up later on. But I haven't heard their names or anything. I just heard a little bit of rumors and stuff like that. Right now, in some of the mock drafts that I've been looking at, the 6th pick. So currently the Pelicans pick would be used to either pick up Dennis Smith Jr. if he fell far enough, or Jason Tatum, which Jason Tatum is most likely going to go top 6. Unless he goes like, there's some rumor about him like most likely going to the Magic. I'm like, you have what's his name? Aaron Gordon. Yeah, they have Aaron Gordon. Why do you need, unless he's like more of a power forward? He seems like he'd be better as a small forward, but maybe a stretch 3. And then the 7th round pick would either be Jason Tatum or Frank Ntilikina, the Frank the Frenchman, as I've heard people call him before. And either of those picks would be great. Like if we could get Dennis and Smith, obviously that would be like amazing. But even if we got or if you got Smith, or we got or not Dennis and Smith, if we got Dennis and Tatum, that'd be amazing. But even if we got Tatum and Frank, that's still really good. Frank is super athletic, super tall, can get to the basket pretty easily, can dunk, like pass the ball pretty good. So yeah, and then to go with that, we have a future starting small forward in Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's been playing great. Like I said before, obviously he has that like rookie season turnovers, but it's because he's still getting used to moving the ball in the NBA. Like, give him one off season, he'll be fine. Like, people take a little time to get used to the game, and obviously he's with a different team now, so it's a different style of play for him, because it was more of kind of Anthony Davis first in New Orleans, and now he's kind of becoming one of the pretty major scorers, averaging that 13 points off the bench. And then obviously it's going to be good to watch him improve over time, probably become, I I don't know. He could become either that like 15 points a game solid 3-pointer, or he could become like a 25 points. Nah, like my prediction is like he could become like a 25 points per game kind of person because like he can shoot the ball so confidently and he gets pretty consistent boards. Some like 2 to 3 boards is pretty good, and then yeah, he can do whatever he wants. It's up to him. And then obviously we got our rookie of the year from 2009 back, which is Tyreek, who I said before I'm very surprised about how great Tyreek has been. Obviously, obviously averaging 15.3 either off the bench or the 2 starts he's gotten so far. And he had that major 26 point game against the Spurs last night. That's fantastic. That was a good game for him. Like, it's good to see him be able to start as a small forward and like get going. Like, it's good to see for like either he goes off to a different team and teams are trying to figure out if they want to give him a lot of money for his worth, or if we decide to re-sign him at the end of the season because he becomes an unrestricted, or is it unrestricted? He becomes a free agent. I don't know the restricted or unrestricted kind of situation there, but and then the DeMarcus trade really opened up minutes for the younger guys like Willie and Scal. Like Scal's getting his 14.4 minutes per game. Willie's getting his like 28. Willie has to get used to the fact that he's getting put this many minutes onto him because he's not been. Last season he played like 14 to 16 minutes, I think, and then this season he's been playing like 12 until DeMarcus left, which then they put him in like the starting lineup sometimes, or they bring him off the bench for that amount of time. But as time goes, as he's getting used to the fact that he's going to become one of the major role big men, that he's going to get used to the fact that there's no longer DeMarcus. You have to work on becoming the star now, which is, I think it's cool. Like, I think it's kind of the Minnesota feel where they have Towns, Wiggins, Levine. Rookie Rubio's kind of getting on that older side. Get on the little older side, but like they still have Chris Dunn and Tyrus Jones and people like that. Like they still have their really good young core, and I feel like that's what Sacramento's getting. Except for Sacramento's going to have tons more young core. Like we're going to have Willie, Scal, Malachi, Buddy, GP. And then Bogan will come if I'm pretty sure he'll come. Like if we give him the money, he'll come, or whatever. If he decides to stay there one more year, it's whatever. We're still gonna get like Jason Tatum if we get Jason Tatum, Boban, and then like Tatum and Smith or Tatum and Frank. Like we're gonna have. That's like a good 7 to 8 young guys, and then if they keep like Tolliver, Kufis, Temple, which they're gonna do, and then like end up signing like people like Jeff Teague or Otto Porter, we're gonna have a pretty solid like young core to go along with pretty proven veterans, which is gonna be pretty good. And then Scal, whew, that kid looks better and better every single game that he gets on the court. That kid, he played what? He played, or he got 15 or he played 15 minutes and got 15 points on 7 of 10 shooting, 6 boards and 1 big block. I saw that block. It was just like straight smacked it on the glass. Then he was like, nah, not going to happen. And then, yeah, it's pretty good. He's averaging that 5.3 and I think 3.4 boards per game. So obviously he's coming from not playing at all or playing in the D League to playing 14 minutes a game. So he's got to get used to the fact that he's actually getting a lot more minutes as well. And then so like not even this year, but last year in the draft when Vlade traded the 8th pick, so Marquise Chris, to the Suns to get Bogan's rights, and then got the 13th, the 28th, and then we had the 22nd because we traded Marco, which was a steal. Oh my goodness. You trade one solid veteran shooting guard to the Hornets and get a first round draft pick out of him, and get Malachi Richardson, who for the long run will either become a pretty good 2-3 or will become a really solid bench player, scoring like he'll probably become like a 6-man, scoring like probably 13 to 14 ish per game, which is pretty good off the bench. Like, that's reasonable. So that's a steal. Getting Scala at the 28th when he probably would have gone like top 10 at this point. Yeah, that was a big old steal. But yeah, I really do like the fact that technically 4, because Isaiah Cousins is still down there. But all 4 of the rookies have been able to play in the D League, and out of those 4, we've so far seen 2 out of the 4 that can still be phenomenal players. Like, can still like Scal has been fantastic. I think the D League really helped his potential. Malachi was great while they were waiting for while he was getting time. He's great. He's going to be great when he gets back next season. I think he'll get a little bit more workout done after he's fully healed from his injury and gets him shooting up, and he'll be a great role player off the bench for sure. And then by not keeping Cousins and signing him to a $200 million 5-year extension at the end of in the offseason, it makes Sacramento in a really good position with like over 45 million extension, if that goes along with the fact that Rudy would possibly opt out, or most likely opt out, and a follow they would not pick up a follows player or a team option, and they're not going to re-sign Darren Collison. And I feel like Ty's deserved a contract with us, but depending on whatever that rumor with his probation stuff or whatever, it really depends on what's going to happen in the offseason. But I feel like he's proven to himself that he can at least get like a good 2 to 3 year contract, but like more of a veteran 2 to 3 year contract. So like he'd be coming off the bench as the backup point guard, unless we get some of the bigger key names that are going to be like, not bigger key names, not like Chris Paul or Blake Griffin or KD or Steph Curry. None of those names. Like more like Otto Porter, is like he's been fantastic for Washington. Like he can solidly knock down the 3 and can move the ball if he needs to and get some good boards, and he's got a really good shooting, can shoot pretty well. Even though the numbers don't show that he's averaging 20 points a game, he's been very beneficial for the Wizards. So yeah, he'd be good in the sense of if we actually ended up getting Tatum, or somehow Josh Jackson falls, or we get another small forward. Tatum would be great to have somebody that he could play behind, to not only be like a possible mentor, but like take the pressure off of him to be the starting small forward. Take that pressure off by being the starting small forward, and then not having to worry about like coming in first year being this all-star that he needs to be so the team makes the playoffs. Like, we have Otto start at 3 and then Jason coming behind. That's perfectly fine with me. It's not worrying about anything. It's all good. And then point guard wise, if we get Frank or we get Dennis, they're going to want to make sure that they don't have the major pressure on them either, because they don't want them to come in first year and feel like they're going to be super pressured. So this is also a situation where if we end up drafting a point guard, I see Ty Lawson and Darren not getting contracts, because they would try to sign someone bigger that can be more of like a mentor to the rookie point guard, whoever they bring. And then, so a few options: Jeff Teague, Could be a great bring. He averages those 15.8 points and 8 assists, which is pretty beneficial to a team. Bring him in, put him in front of Frank, and put him in front of Dennis, and let him show them how to move the ball and how NBA move the ball, because obviously college ball, they're pretty good at it. But like move the ball, shoot it pretty well, because he's got a pretty good pretty good shot. And then also another unrestricted free agent point guard is George Hill. George Hill is a veteran point guard. He's been playing great for the Jazz. He played great for the Spurs, great for the point guard who came from the Pacers. Plays Shoots pretty well. He'd be a great pickup to play in front of these these rookies, because when he played for the Spurs, he was the younger one who Parker was Tony Parker would mentor George Hill, which then George Hill can use that same knowledge to mentor any of our rookies. So that'd be all good. Prediction wise, I'm seeing. This is just my prediction of how the rotation would look next year. I would see starting point guard being either Teague or Hill. And then starting shooting guard would be Buddy Hield. Small forward would be Otto Porter. Power forward, and I know he's just a rookie, but off season he adds 25 pounds. He becomes 6'11" and 250. Put Scal at the starting power forward. Let him do his thing. In the last 4 games, how much has he averaged? Like 13 points a game. Got like 4 boards per, plus like a steal or two, or a steal, assist or 2, and then like a block. So it's pretty good for someone who just came out and played not as good as everybody thought he was going to play in college, and that's why he dropped so far. But obviously, if they redrafted now, he'd be going like top 10. So there's that. And then starting center would be Willie at that time. And then backups, the bench, we see Dennis Smith Jr. or Frank the Frenchman. And then shooting guard would be Garrett Temple. Small forward, Jason Tatum. Power forward, Anthony Tolliver, who Anthony seems to... I've seen video and pictures of him playing with Scal and like teaching him how to do stuff and stuff like that. So they have a good mentorship. And then on the center position would be Costa coming off the bench, because hopefully at that time Willie can run the center position and do the kind of things that a traditional center would do. And then coming off the bench. See, with having Garrett Temple, it's kind of like I would like to see I would like to see Malachi develop more, but Garrett Temple is definitely the kind of guy that deserves that kind of spot right now, because his defense and his defensive presence and offensive power is pretty good. So backup shooting guard is pretty him. Still have a backup center or a third string center, Papianis. Give him a little bit of time so that he can try to develop, and seems like he's pretty confident to try to get into that starting center position at some point or another in his career. So that'd be cool to see him. And then whoever the second round rookie is that we get this upcoming year, like I said, there's multiple people that I've heard rumors about, but I don't know exactly if they're like late second rounders that would have made it into the first round if there was more than 30 picks in the first round. So I don't know about that. But yeah, that's pretty much the potential the Kings have. You could have a really solid young team next year, and because Porter is still pretty young. Obviously Teague's kind of on the getting to the older side of the game, but he's still pretty young. He played pretty good with Atlanta, and he's been playing pretty good since. And then Buddy's gonna be Buddy. So we're gonna see him next year. And then Porter and Scal is fantastic. So like I said, 25 more. Put 25 more pounds on that kid, and he'd be balling with the best of them. And then okay. So yeah, that's what I think on it. That's my opinion. You guys can comment down below if you guys have anything else. My pick of the day for DraftKings, like I said, not sponsored. Even though Westbrook is playing tonight, I'm gonna say LeBron and after coming off of a rest against the Kings, which obviously they dropped a 28 point lead. I'm fine with that because we're still tanking. But I'm gonna say Kawhi because he got that rest and he's gonna be the the PED tested Kawhi that they tested him after that big game against the Rockets, which was weird. And then LeBron is LeBron. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll leave you with an assist when I can. Make sure to dunk on that like button and subscribe for more video content. See ya.